the beautiful images. I mean, it took me some time to put this together. Normally I speak without this, and I'm going to do my best to be as quick as possible. Let me just look at the time now.
Take your time.
I'm trying to So it's from vision to impact, blueprint to a lasting legacy. As I was saying, I'm Dr. Sylvia Forchap-Likambi. You see, there are not too much. From vision to impact. What is vision? Why do I put the images of an orange? I'm a very visual person. I give a lot of analogies, images, because it sticks a lot in our brain. I want you to see the end from the beginning, the orange, the lemon, whatever it is. They all have seeds. They've come from a seed or from diverse seeds. We all have the seed of greatness within us. We all are born and destined for greatness. Right now, some of us are not living that life of greatness that we're born to live or called to live. So we may still be at that seed stage, or we are just shooting. We've not yet produced our fruits. At the very end, you're seeing the end from the beginning. You're now seeing the oranges. If I were to take 3 seeds from here, lemon, oranges, and
lime,
grapefruit, would you be able to tell me the difference between the seeds? No, isn't it? At the most, we'll say citrus fruits. They are all categorized under a certain family. How often do people label us? They are all black, they are all women from this ethnic minority, single mother, and all of that. And we are unshakable. I mean, we are not confident yet when we don't know who we are, when we are still in that seed form, and someone comes and tells us, like she said, you could not be anything better, you cannot be great, you cannot be anything. We tend to believe it because we don't see the end from the beginning. We don't see the greatness in us yet because we seem to be at that seed stage. However, if I were to take seeds from an orange fruit, I handed you an orange fruit right here, and asked you to take the seed out of it, would you be able to tell what fruit will come out from that seed? No, if I gave you an orange fruit.
Oh, if you get the fruit.
The fruit.
Yeah.
You would. But if I just give you the seed, you won't. You get mixed up. If I gave you the fruit, if I gave you a lemon fruit, you will be very confident. Even if a professor in agriculture tells you, no, you can't have oranges from that seed, you will be unshakable. You will tell them, no, I got it from an orange fruit. Because the fruit defines, actually, is the source, what it will become. So I want you to be to step from this seed, to see the end from the beginning, to see the fruit of greatness with you and not just settle for the seed. I come here to remind you today that you are great, you are destined for greatness. You are greatness waiting to be made manifest to the world. So do not settle for what you see right now. Do not settle for labels. Look at that image, and I strongly believe in an ultimate creator who gives us that image, that vision, that mental picture. If you are an orange seed, of the oranges you are bound to become. So every morning when you wake up, you only desire to become oranges. If you sow an orange seed, if you could hear it speak, its only greatest heart's desire is to become oranges and never mangoes. It's exactly the same thing. Every day you wake up, because vision is an internal mental image of your life purpose. Like I said before, it's an internal mental image of the preferable life, because we are settling. We are living an average life. Without vision, we're going to go astray and people perish. Without vision, you will not have discipline, you will not have direction, clarity of where you're going to. So that vision gives you that internal mental image. It's also an image of your life purpose. And purpose births motivation. Motivation is the purpose for doing something. In this case, it's the only reason you and I were born and placed on this earth to live. So there is that drive within, that intrinsic drive. I'm not talking of an extrinsic drive that comes from external rewards and all of that. But the only reason, it ignites passion, fuel, energy. You rise up from bed no matter what is happening, because you've got a purpose. You've got a reason why you're here. You've got to live. And it's able. Passion is a powerful force that destroys any destructive or depressive force. And it's going to keep you going. Why did I put the eagle? I'm sure so many of us have heard of that. I do it using in a lot of my leadership programs. Eagle is so unique. It is the king of the bird kingdom. Like when we talk of the animal kingdom, we have the lion. One of his greatest powers is its vision. An eagle can see clearly 5 miles away, very, very clearly. You know what 5 miles means? It's quite a distance. And that's why when eagles soar, when there are storms, an eagle is not afraid because he sees beyond the storm. Vision is also our ability to see beyond the physical barriers of the eyes. It's our ability to see beyond barriers. When those barriers cannot be broken, vision is your ability to break down every existing barriers. Vision is not a function of sight, it's a function of the heart and the mind. While our sight is limited to our eyes, I can only see beyond these four walls. I can see above them because I'm limited by what my eyes can see. Your eyes see your past, it talks about experiences, it sees your present circumstances and conditions. Your vision gives you the ability to see beyond your past, your background, your gender, your nationality. It gives you that ability to break every barrier that holds you stuck to the past or your current situation. And you only see yourself as that fruit, as that end product that you are called and placed on this earth. So when other birds are hiding away with the storms, what happens? The eagle is not afraid. It uses the storm on its advantage, for its advantage, to propel it forward. It glides effortlessly. When you're a leader driven by vision, a vision-driven leader, you're not afraid of storms. I love challenges. It's a platform. The mountains in front of me, a platform for me to step to a higher altitude. I'm not very tall, you can see me. But if I stand on the mountain, the world will see me. A city bird on the mountain cannot be hidden. You will not be hidden, like she said. You are born to thrive, to have dominion, to have a greater impact on this planet. Helen Keller, how many of us have heard of her? One of the greatest transformational leaders of our time. She was deaf, blind, and mute. But she impacted lives beyond any measure. She did more than what some of us with eyes could never do. Once in an interview, she was asked what's the greatest tragedy that would ever happen to any human than being born blind. She smiled and said, the greatest tragedy is not being born blind. The greatest tragedy, and I come here to tell you that today, is being born with sight, but having no vision. How many of us have sight? We all have sight, you can see me. We don't have vision. That's why we perish. It's the greatest tragedy. Dr. Miles, one of my greatest mentors, put it this way. The greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's life without purpose. Because like I said, your vision tells you your purpose. The reason you were born, you cannot fail. Success is fulfillment of your purpose, period. We don't seek success. An orange seed doesn't seek success. When it becomes the oranges to serve the world, it's fulfilled its purpose and is successful. Success brings fulfillment. Anything you have, riches, whatever, if there's not that inner deep sense of fulfillment, rest and peace, that's not success. Let's move on. I want to tell you the story of this incredible young girl at the age of 7. She had a very clear vision in her life. It was a Flax, Cameroon. She was born in Cameroon, in west of Africa, in a beautiful city there. Growing up, she was surrounded by incredible leaders, role models. Her dad loved her so much. One of her dad's friends was one of the greatest gynecologists in her city, studied in Italy. And she actually wanted to become a doctor as well. She wanted to study in Italy. Because at 7, she thought, if he's the best gynecologist in my city, then he studied in Italy. I think that's the best city to study if you want to become outstanding as a medical doctor. So with this in mind, having that vision at the age of 7, she had clarity. She had focus. She was disciplined. Vision gives discipline, gives direction, gives focus. You cannot be distracted. It's a blueprint, like I said, for lasting legacy. Blueprint is a roadmap. If you don't have the map where you're going to, you're going to get lost several times. If you have the map, you know exactly where you're going to. Even with a navigator never asks you where you are or where you came from. It's interested in your destination. Our inner GPS, which is our vision, gives you that map, that destination. So this girl studied, and when she was about to go to Italy, she didn't know the challenges then. Because she was in Cameroon, they didn't speak Italian in Cameroon. She had to study the Italian language. She had to take the Italian language exam. First of all, she had to study for 6 months, twice a week. Of course, that's not enough to do a language and go study medicine in that language. But she did it, and she was the best in her class then, with some of her other friends, but she was really outstanding. And after the exam, those who make it would have to have that decision, do the application in the universities of their choice, and travel to Italy. But this lady, unfortunately, this little girl, when she was now 19 years, ready to go to university, because she had a clear vision, she wouldn't go to university in Cameroon, she wouldn't go anywhere. So she told her parents it didn't even matter if they didn't have money. She was the last of her siblings because she had this vision. Of course, there were obstacles. And that was it. It's quite expensive. The vision kept her going. She could convince, she could speak, she could be determined. She told them, I'm going to have a scholarship, I promise you. I've seen this all my life. This is where I am. This is where I've got to be. But that morning came, what happened? You've got to take an Italian language exam. Unfortunately, she failed. She's never failed an exam in her life. She was not an average student. She was almost either the first or among the first three in her classes. She was so intelligent. This was the first time she had to deal with failure. And she wouldn't take it because the vision was so alive. And she said she was with her elder sister in the capital of Cameroon where she was studying the language. I'm not going to give my dad this negative news. My dad has never known me as a failure. That's what she said. She said she's going to do something. She was the best in her class. She wouldn't accept this. She cannot be the one to stand on her own way of going to Italy and fulfilling that vision of becoming a medical professional and serving the world. So she said she was going to call the ambassador. She was not going to call the embassy because they would stop her. She was only a child, 19 years old at the time. She told her sister, got the phone, got the directory, got the number of the ambassador, Italian ambassador to Cameroon's number. She called the Italian ambassador's number. The wife picked up the phone, bless her. She spoke with the wife, complete Italian for about 10-15 minutes. And the wife was like, you speak Italian very well. She said, yeah, of course. And that's why I need another exam. We need another opportunity. This is not right. Because what happened that year, they had increased the bar. They wanted to reduce the amount of Cameroonians going to Italy. Italian is a Neo-Latin language, so it's similar to French. Cameroon is bilingual. We have French-speaking Cameroonians and English-speaking Cameroonians. That year in Cameroon, only one English-speaking Cameroonian who studied in the French region, in the French system, made it to go to Italy. Every Anglophone failed. And that was not really possible. Not because they failed completely, they had increased the bar. But that's no excuse. If you are intelligent, you're gifted, you need to be able to thrive. So she called, she said, you have to give us another opportunity. Even on oral tests to prove that we can do this. What happened? The woman said, write a letter and send to the ambassador. When my husband comes back, I'm going to tell him, and he will be waiting for that. So she wrote this letter, got her friends, got her tutor, endorsed it, sent it to the embassy. Within 1 week from sending that letter, a news announcement was made all over Cameroon, calling those who took that exam to come back for an oral exam. This never happened in the nation. Never, to give them a second chance. And she went, she made it, and she was on her way to Italy. Studied there, she changed her mind because she wanted to know more about drugs. She did pharmacy and later on went into studying, research, medical research, hematology, because she was intrigued by blood. And today, that little girl of 7 stands here in front of you as Dr. Sylvia Forchap-Likambi. When I traveled to Italy, and then I was intrigued. I wanted to study medicine because I wanted to, pharmacy, I wanted to know more about the drugs so I can be able to get new, drugs to cure illnesses that actually have no cure. Then I wanted to go into medical research. The blood really intrigued me to be able to understand how we can get new, diagnoses earlier and prognostic tools to be able to cure people earlier and things like that. And then later on, when I was in Italy also, when that little girl was 7, she said she was going to settle in the United Kingdom. I didn't want to settle in a non-speaking English country. So immediately I finished from it. I never looked at skin color, nothing, gender. I looked for jobs in the UK. Every job I went for, I never spoke to people. And no wonder, people give mentality, mindset stories of, oh, you're black, you're that. No. My vision drove me. I knew who I was. I knew what was with me. I knew the power within me. Every interview, I was granted the interviews. I had to make the choice. They paid for my flight, put me in the hotel before my interview. If not taking the candidate, I knew I was reading worth and value, and I was accepted there. Italy, I also studied in Australia, part of my PhD, and then went back to Italy, where I worked for some time, and to UK, Liverpool, the United Kingdom. Then something tremendous happened. I got married. I'm happily married with 3 incredible children. That's my first daughter. When I was pregnant with my first daughter, the most challenging moment in my life, most challenging, my marriage. If I were not a Christian, I would have been divorced. I went to church once, praying. I was an incredible woman, intelligent, and my intelligence, everything could not make up for that marriage. And I was praying. I never met this minister before. He came to me and looked up to me and says, the Lord is telling me, he didn't even pray for me. You're called to be a leader of women. I smiled. I said, God really has a sense of humor. I'm going through my own challenges. In my marriage, he's calling me to lead women. But I said nothing. I knew who is called to lead. He's called to serve. And I knew that I was really powerful. In high school, primary school, I've always been in leadership roles. And I really did speak to, for those who were less privileged. I did nothing, and that's our last daughter. When my second son was born, that's then now my first daughter. Prayed, my marriage was restored, thank God, we had a second child, again, challenges. I did nothing, I went back to work. When I had my second son, my second child, my son, again, some challenges hit, but I was more fortified and resilient. And it dawned on me, my son was 4 months old, that Sylvia, you're super resilient. Like I said, the most challenging moment in my life, I've never had challenges. I was a child. For me, the incidents with the Italian embassy was an adventure, it was not a challenge. I was born from breast milk to nursing school to PhD to a well-paid job. That's my life. My family loved me, loving parents, everyone seemed to love me wherever I went. My schools, because I was always like a bright student. I've never had any challenges. It had to happen in my marriage because life is not like that. So something had to happen to either crush me, break me, to mold me into the woman that I am today, to be able to serve in the area that I'm called to serve. So it was really challenging. Then it began to dawn on me, what makes you so confident? Like I said, even though it was the most challenging moment in my life, if you ask me, my children were the best thing that happened to me. Of course, my marriage as well. Can you go back and relive that moment? Without the blink of an eye, I will tell you yes. Because it taught me, it shaped me. It took me to my highest peak of love, unconditional love when you give birth. It took me to the highest peak of spirituality. It's like I was literally having a conversation with God every single day. It was incredible. It was an incredible experience. And how do we get from vision to legacy to impact? What's legacy? It's not about money, leaving your children money. The lives we touch, the impact. If you're a leader, you're leading out, the charity begins at home. You can impact your own children, which is what I've come to share with you. And I believe that's why I'm called to be that leader. That's why my marriage could not break. But the Lord had to kind of shatter us, to take every stream of ego, pride within me and my husband, to mold and shape us so we are selfless, to become what He wants us to be, to serve the world. Today we have incredible power couple programs. We are teaching, inspiring other couples, sharing our challenges, inspiring them not to make the same challenges that we made. So, these are my children. All of my children now are young. There's 7 of us. They're the youngest authors in the world. At 4 months old, like I said, my son was 4 months old. I lied on my bed. It was still challenging. I had another struggle. Like each time I had a child, there is like some challenge coming in. But I understood, because I'm called not just to be a mother to my children, but to nations and save nations. That's when it came so alive. I sat on my bed that morning. Vision. I have clarity to serve women. What can I do? What is it in my life that's so unique that I can share with women? My resilience, my determination, my vision, my unwavering confidence. Nothing will shake my confidence. Nothing. Why? Vision. I see the end from the beginning. I know who I am. I know success is my birthright. You don't chase, you don't follow success. There is no way you can fail. An orange seed, only if it's sown in the right environment. If you place an orange seed here, it will remain a seed all its life, it will never produce fruits. So we all are seed with the potential to thrive and succeed, but we need to be in the right environment. We need to be nurtured, sown, to grow and sprout. Need coaches, mentors to guide you to become the best version of yourself. I found the Voice of Nations, actually a groundbreaking organization working globally to empower young girls, women, and families to unlock their full potential and live a life of purpose and financial independence. We've done tremendous amount of work. We've impacted millions of lives. Went on to found the Global Visionary Women Network, a network that unites visionary women from all walks of life and nations to educate and empower the ordinary girl child into extraordinary citizens of impact, leaving a lasting legacy. Power couple, we have a publishing company where my children, my first daughter, she saw me publish a book. She wanted to publish her own book. Then the Health and Wellbeing Clinic, I had to take my medical background to another level. I saw so many people dying, getting unwell, not recovering from medication, not because of what was happening, but because of their mind. We had the placebo effect before we got something out there, a drug. We did clinical trials. People will come to the hospital with leukemia. We will tell them this is the best drug. We've many giving them glucose. They come back without a trace of leukemia. I understood the mind is so powerful, and I found that Forchap-Likambi Global, published by Dr. Sylvia-Likambi, Health and Wellbeing Clinic as well, to work in a holistic way. Not giving you drugs and medications because I know the impact of those drugs and medications is going to kill us. So, these are my children. I published my first book, my daughter. She said, Mommy, you've written a book, I want to write a book too. But because I know her the potential, I said, do you have a book? She said, I've been writing my stories. Perfect. And she went on and published her book. I supported her. My daughter, she was the youngest in the world. At 5, she published her book in 2021. The world what it is, impact on transforming life. That's my children, that's my husband. They have a conference in Liverpool on the World Book Day 7th. And then the next 3 Saturdays, they do global conventions. Children, they've inspired so many children. The youngest author in the UK right now is a 4-year-old boy, inspired by my daughter when they found her out, my last daughter. So this is legacy. You cannot live without impacting your family, your generation. Empower a woman, you empower a family, you empower a generation, and the world at large. When you see purpose, you see vision, you want to guide because you're serving to make a lasting impact. And the impact, everyone you encounter in life must be transformed by your presence. My own children had to be transformed by my presence because I see the strength, I see the greatness in them. I couldn't support them to thrive. And honestly, the amount of impact they've had in schools, I've never been able to touch young children like that because there's power in peer mentoring. When young children see me, they say, oh, someday when I become a doctor, when they see my 5-year-old girl, I can do that too. I can write a book. So a 4-year-old boy wrote a book and published. And she says, you can do anything at any age. That's this little girl destiny. And these are my books, some of my books. I have them today on offer for you if you want to speak to me. I do a lot of programs. All of my books have programs. If you want to run your own, you're running a coaching business because they are so powerful and groundbreaking and transformational. There is nothing I do that's not from inside out. And these are some of the books as well. My daughter, at the age of 8, she had published 9 books. My son as well, in 1 year, he wrote 10 books. Because of them, we had to open a publishing company, and we're helping other people now. So it was costing us a lot of money, and they just keep writing. And they are doing amazing. Their books are represented all over. My daughter is empowering young girls, running programs. And there she is. She has a magazine. That's Latoya. And she's actually interviewed young girls who are thriving. To have role models is so powerful. Enough of saying that the world is so bad. Our young people, we need role models. To leave a lasting legacy, we need to go out and shine our light to be able to impact the others. And that's us. That's where with Global Visionary Women Network, we've got global magazines that we interview incredibly successful women like yourself so that we can showcase the stories to other women. Because we do work with Voice of Nations, women at the most disadvantaged level, at rock bottom. And some of us see themselves like they can never be able to achieve greatness. So with the Global Visionary Women Network, we build that bridge where we connect them with established transformational leaders. And they realize that their stories are similar. And they are inspired and mentored by some of them to get into that role of leadership and financial independence. I wrote this book as well, The Visionary Woman. And everything for me is vision and purpose. Vision. Without vision, honestly, you can't live life confidently, unshakably, confidently. And with some incredible women, 9 women together, we published a book. It was in one of our conferences in London, and I want to invite you so you can get some of the books. Like I said, I've received countless awards. When you're living a life of purpose, it's not the awards. Awards don't really, I appreciate them, don't get me wrong. And those who celebrate me, I love to celebrate others. Awards is not a reward of what I do. I know the impact. It's like you don't need a reward or an award when you become that orange fruit because you know what you're meant to be. We've got our next Global Summit coming up. If you're interested, we want you to join us. I'll speak to some of you who want to be speakers. Global Women Leadership Summit, usually over 3 days in the UK. Hope University, we partner with some incredible universities in Liverpool and also across the UK. We want to invite you. It's an incredible opportunity. Gathering. Every year we have a powerful team. And this year, in fact, our theme is, of course, the visionary woman. Leading with authority, inspiring generational impact, which is what I'm talking about. We have so many women who go up the career ladder, yet their children are forgotten, their children are damaged, their marriages are distressed. So I'm so proud when I see husbands supporting my husband. In fact, they said we're going to give him an honorary man, doctorate degree, woman, because he's everywhere. He's so supportive. We had to go through that challenge. We had to be broken, to be molded, to serve the world better. And we are now doing incredible work with my husband supporting me. So please do join us at the Global Summit. And again, with all this, your health is your world. Like I said, if you've got to leave a lasting legacy, it's not about chasing success. It's not about climbing out the career ladder while your children don't know you because they're brought up by, babysitters. While you destroy your marriage, say what a man can do, a woman can do, absolutely no. What the eyes can do, the ears cannot do. We are completely different. purpose, your strengths define your identities. It's dignity and pride to be woman. It's incredible. Let's forget about all these feminists. We need the men. They are our sons, our husbands, our fathers. We need them to have the world we envisage to actually live a true and lasting legacy. You cannot. I've seen so many women, so many leaders falling apart, broken down, mental health problems. You've got to care for your mental health. When you have a vision, you understand finally that this body is